real.
Emmy's not sound. It's not. Smash the camera. Say my life, I never think of this. Just if you want to get the life, you can keep it check. My part, I never thought to
welcome everybody. Blasting the tunes? No tunes? I got annoyed with the SSL. We're going to have to fix the radio station. Oh, it just drops in. Welcome back everybody. It is 8 o'clock on the 23rd of September. This would be a Tuesday. My system tells me it's episode 256. I'm Drift Johnson, this is Scuffed Epoch. We're doing Latent Space Live. So, welcome everyone to the show. Let's see what everybody's saying first before we get into it. Oh, don't forget, if you're watching live or if you're watching later, the links are in the description. You can join us on Discord and various places. Alright, Fernicar's giving us a countdown. Apollonia, better stop dreaming of the quiet life. Nice lyrics. Fernicar comes in with the battle cruiser operational. Stone Sage asked what the dance is called. I believe I used an app that's actually in our Discord. Let me just see if I can get that for you real quick. So if I'm in Discord, I think I can just click a button on maybe, I think it has to be an image. So if I find an image like that, there's buttons in the top right corner. You can go animate, customize, and it'll do like a mid-journey type thing, usually, somewhere. Maybe it's not allowed to do it in this channel, okay? But then I type the name of an animation and it tries to sort of, you know, and what I did was I had a bunch of Thoras in the image feed one time, and we made them all do the exact same dance, rotoed it out, coordinated the thing. That's how we did it. So it's using, let me just see that again for people that weren't paying attention because it's a bit off. It's called Viggle. Viggle.ai. That's who did it. So it's just built into our Discord, really. You can do it to any image. In fact, let's do it now. Let's find one. Okay, so here's one, right? We got this one from Broken Boyo. We'll go animate, customize, and I'm going to type dancing. I don't think, it might not have even been dancing one. It may have just been dancing. Oh, and of course, what background do you want? Now, I never use from template because it gets whatever it was that was the original. It's going to map whatever this is to a 3D model. So I tend to go with green because I'm going to chroma, you know, I'm going to remove the background. So, I mean, it's just as easy with AI with white or green, but if you want to use not AI, like say you want to drop it into like the brain animation in the startup, you know, that's using a chroma key from a GIF. All right, so anyway, I'm going to get given that in a while. That's just how you can do that, guys. All right, who else is here? He asks if it's breakdance. I think it's K-pop. Did I make it? Yes, I did, but I did it with AI from a template. So really it was the template, wasn't it? But it's my artwork wrapped over a 3D model. Those are all Thoras of various different types and descriptions, every single one of them. Here, take a look. Oh, here they come. See, they're all different Thoras. Slightly different haircut, maybe more photorealistic, more anime. Yeah. So, what else is going on? Zeus says hello. Foldive is here. It's not K-pop. Oh, okay, I could have sworn it was. Maybe it's just women dancing on a TikTok, you know? Stone Sage. Claude is good at Python, but it can only get 2 to 5 prompts, and then it says the 5-hour limit is expired. Yeah, we tend to do programming with the API, so you'll have less limits. If you use OpenRouter, you don't get rate limited like you do with the direct Anthropic. Dragon is starving, so everybody watch out. Melting Province gives us a wave. It's been a while, But yeah, so glad everybody could make it. What are we doing today? Well, yesterday we had a little bit of fun with a few things. We were doing a whole bunch of different apps and things. They're all still there. They will stay up as long as people keep using them. And eventually I'll put the code up on GitHub for open source. But it's all part of a zero data philosophy where we don't require login, we don't capture your information, and you do everything with your own resources and keep it all local. It's a bring your own key type of philosophy where we make available APIs and you enter your keys and then you can go and do what you need to do. So that's essentially where all this is coming from, and I've been trying to build all kinds of little projects to try and explore that, building in various different bits and pieces. And currently the project is 0 Vector 5, which is our brain model, okay? We're only looking at it from the side, but if you imagine there's a core which you can't see in the middle, that would be, on the brain stem. That's the inner thoughts aspect at the moment, so it's simplified. There's one inner thoughts consciousness thread, you could call it, and it decides what to think. It reacts to what it sees, and obviously it can remember with the cerebellum. We haven't put this in yet, not because it doesn't work. In fact, that was the only focus. 0 Vector started off as only memory, and you can find 0 Vector 3 and the 0 Vector 4 demo, but they were based on Nation of Experts, which is like using agent-to-agent protocol to have many cities which all have companies inside. It's like a giant research thing. Anyway, Parietal was a bit of a gap. So today I want to show you some experiments I've been having with the parietal lobe, which I'm going to be using MCP Deep Research. Now, it's actually a pain, and I think I've come up with a completely different way of doing it now, but I want to show you what I did because it's fun. Right, so here we go. Oh yeah, also on the side I just put together something called DJZ Color Wheel, which I do hope to test, so we're just going to give that one a restart and hopefully it's not broken. And there's a reason why I've made that. It's like Zenkai Color Wheel, but I don't know if it works yet. Alright, I literally had the idea 5 minutes before I came in the door, so node is now created and we'll see if we can show you how to use it, because it's kind of sneaky what I've come up with. Alright, we'll get into that later. So as you know, this is all a full project. We've got the whole thing here, all the prompts that we used, everything in chain. There's a couple of new modules since we added the 11 Labs integration. I've also got Perplexity API search. Okay, I thought that because it does have an inbuilt because it's on Lovable. Lovable has a web search built in, and you can access that. So that's what I've been using. But I want to explain like what it is. Can I make a second one of these? Because this diagram's useful to come back to. Can I have a second paint? So the parietal. When I first come up with what could be used for the touch center, obviously it's robotics. Oh my god, you can't see anything. Robot. So robotics. Obviously robotics, right? But also computer use, which is a little bit more relatable for us because that's just a fine tune of Quen 2.5 VL with a whole bunch of cool mmproj tech to actually control the web pages and click and enter and all this. So, touch center could be, virtual, right? It doesn't have to be physical. It could be virtual. So I'm thinking computer use or browser use is more primitive, but now we've got proper computer use open sourced. I probably will try to use that. But because I was in a particularly experimental mood, I thought, well, what about MCP though? Do you know what I mean? Because this is being used for text right now. And so I thought the obvious first thing to do would be to try and make fetch, okay? Because that's obvious, right? Web search. And I might have got a little bit carried away. It works, but it's a mess. And so I might have to actually roll back like $50 worth of research. But it's all saved in a Git fork, so I haven't really lost anything. I haven't even rolled it back yet. We might manage to make it work. I'll always try to do that first. But anyway. So fetch was the idea. MCP fetch. And I thought, well, that makes sense. So if you have like the center of the brain going to go out and do web searches, I thought, well, how's that actually going to work? So I thought, well, what we could do is we could use something because remember, I've given it aspects of consciousness. And so I thought, well, why don't we simulate the job like in human terms for fun so we can see what it's doing. So I've come up with the concept of hands. All right. So they come in pairs. So if I just paint them out as splodges, and then we'll label them. So like, imagine you have a pair of hands, and they go out and they do the initial fetch. And then you have another pair of hands, and they do the analysis of the result. And then you have a final pair, sorry, not analysis, they collect. So they collect the result. And then the final ones analyze the result and put it into like a handoff document to pass back to thinking or inner thoughts, depending on how I decide to do the cognition chain, right? I really want it to be dynamic. So like if he needs to think about it, he should decide to think about it himself rather than me telling him a fixed pattern. Anyway, so we have these 3 stages, right? So let's just note them down. So obviously we've got the fetch stage, where it just goes out and gets data. And then we have the collection. And you could say, oh, you could have just dropped in a deep research, whatever. And yeah, you probably could have, but... collection and then analysis. Okay. So we've got our 3 hands. And as it turns out, they're pretty busy. They did about 34 searches when I tested this. It has its own dedicated API as well, which is kind of important. So this is using its own... It's got its own agent for this brain center. You see what I mean? It's not just holographic. It's not simulated. It is a separate agent that only does MCP fetch. So it's like its own chat just for doing fetch. Now, I called it deep research because we actually have sub-agents going and doing different jobs. You know what I mean? So it's not just fetch anymore. And that's where I think it gets a bit confused, because what kept happening was the analysis is so funny. What would happen is he would be like, "Wah, I've finished." Yeah, and leave at the fetch. He wouldn't wait for it to complete. And so then he'd be like, I couldn't find anything. 0 results. You know? So we had to make him actually wait before thinking. A lot. He doesn't like that. He doesn't like sitting there idle. So you had to put a lot of state stuff in there to make that work. I think we used... what's the name of that stupid thing? I keep thinking Dustron, but that's not it. Anyway, doesn't matter. The point is, he'll do it for you even if you don't know what to do. But yeah, so we've got our thing, and that should pass the handoff document back to cognition is where it wants to go, you know? And then it doesn't finish the response here. It's got to pass it on. So anyway, that's pretty much the deal. It looks a bit weird as well. He screwed up the cool thought process. See, before it was nice and clean. So that's kind of broken. But I figure there's no point trying to fix that kind of stuff until it actually works. So at the moment, if I show you what we've got, what we actually have working, everything works. I'm just mucking about with the deep research feature. Basically, you click that button and whoa, did my mouse just break? Yeah. So you click that button and it puts the deep research on. Let's turn that off. If I just go in here, you can see the lobes. So we've got Sonnet 4 for inner thoughts. We have Sonnet 4 for the frontal lobe. We have Sonnet 4 for parietal lobe, which is separate from the sub-agents. They get their own. We have temporal lobe for speech and audio processing. We have occipital lobe, again, Sonnet 4 for, image vision. You go into the research section, we can enable deep research. If you leave that blank, it'll just use the same key as before. But because I wanted to monitor what the sub-agents were doing, I put it on a separate key. There's obviously a timeout. I've just maxed it to see what it does. And then we have perplexity. So obviously I thought, it's all well and good, like you just change it to free for lovable web search, but it's not very good. And it never really worked properly. Like, anyway, you'll see what I mean. So we go perplexity search, And then the parietal lobe. Again, look at this. Why has it got another one? Has it got another one? Oh, it must be this. It must just be the same. What the hell? Okay, whatever. Make sure everything's on. And then we go to the speech section. You have your 11 Labs API. You can turn 11 Labs off and use Windows SAPI. It just doesn't sound as good. For some reason on the key I'm using, I've got limited... Oh, they're back. I was going to say I've got limited voices, but looks like we got George back. And then the main with the visualization, because that's the bit, because this is a demo to show the cognition chain. It's not even really a thing. Anyway, so let's just show you it working without the thing. Let's say, that must be what that button is. When you turn that on, it changes the radio button by... Okay, I get it. Right, so how about we say... Tell me all about French bread laws. Okay. And let's see what he's got to say for himself. Reading some of the comments. Dragon says it's house dancing from the 90s, so a mix of shuffle and other styles. Thanks, Dragon. Zeus194 says comfy update today, plus front end. So as you can see,
France takes its bread very seriously.
It's finished.
There are strict laws about what can be called traditional French bread. It can only have 4 ingredients and must be made and baked on site. There are also rules about the size and production of baguettes, as well as requirements for bakeries to stay open certain hours so people can always access fresh bread. These regulations reflect how important bread is to French culture and identity.
Okay, so this is like a basic search. I don't know, look, I'm probably going to fix this in a minute, but we're still working on other things. So like, I can zoom out, but then you can't read it. So anyway, what he says isn't what he thinks. So we see what he thinks, but he talks back to us naturally. It's all aimed at natural cognition. Okay, so let's just take a look at the trace. So I'll have to, maybe I can manage it. Okay, that's still tiny. And then you've got like an inch to read it. Yeah, we need to sort this UI out. Okay, I'm just going to read it. So we've got intent, plan, frontal lobe thinks about it, and then we get the speech summary. Okay, so this is like super simple. With a French, you want a French accent? I wonder if you can do that. Hang on, let me find out if one of the voices is French. Hang on. Why not? Not speech to text. Why would that be an option? Text to speech? Australian. I don't think there's a... Unless somebody knows the default voices really well. Do you know what's weird? The only one... Right, so there's an there's an African example. Most of them don't say. They don't say. Do you know what I mean? They don't actually say what nationality they are. But there's like one American one. There's an Australian man. And then there's an African woman. Other than that, it doesn't actually say. So, sorry guys, I would do it, but I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with 11 Labs to know like what all the voices are. Anyway, I upped my subscription as well because we're making more and more stuff. And so I thought, why not? We'll have a little look. We're sort of messing around with speech at the moment. But anyway, like I said, this is ginormous and ugly, and it's going to be smaller again. It should actually look more like something like that. So when you do your prompts, which is what we're doing right now, it like shows you the brain wave, and I want to make that better as well. But anyway, it's not using thermodynamics or anything yet. But anyway, the point I want to make here is if we now put the deep research on, we can at least see it attempt to use what we've built. Okay. See, when I checked the API on Perplexity, it made 0, and he's gaslighting me right now. So this is actually quite a cool thing to show off. So how about we say we can do deep research on the price of cheese in the United Kingdom. Okay. He's going to start. doing his parietal lobe deep research gathering, which may take some time. Sometimes he even decides to say, I'm working on it. It's really cool. He doesn't do it every time, though, because he has to decide he's going to do it. I'm trying to get this sort of emergent stuff working. So it's like, if he thinks he needs to tell me, then he will tell me. But if he doesn't, then he won't. And he should just well, we'll see, won't we? Sometimes it breaks. And it's usually because the search didn't find anything for some reason. And I think that he's actually hallucinating search results to try and cheat to pass the task. So that's fun. We'll see if he'll do it. I mean, we can actually see in the debug on the right-hand side here. I know it's kind of small, but no research findings available for the guidance. User's intent, learn more about laws and regulations. Oh, no, wait, next. Deep research on the price of cheese. So we start here. Okay, so blocking until complete. So he's waiting for the deep research to actually happen. And it's active. Lobe is fetching. I don't know why it doesn't say, it doesn't tell me how many, that's never worked. But it is showing me it's doing it. So let's read what he's done here. So what's he doing? Deep research. We can do deep research. Priority medium. Do deep research. So he validated one URL, generated 6 queries. Search with 6 queries with perplexity. Wait. And then using fallback. No idea. It even says, oh, perplexity enabled false. What? God damn it. So we'll have to make sure that perplexity is actually enabled. So for whatever, so in other words, so it's fallen back to normal search, which is provided by Lovable. A little bit smoother, but let's see. Yeah, so okay, right. That it still does 6 search queries and starts search for 6 queries. And it goes, found 2 results, found 2 real results. I love how he has to tell me they're real, not imagined, right? We're trying here. It's like a fever dream. Found 2, because here's the problem, right? He's actually smart enough to give me results that are real, that aren't real, but will check out. So he's smart enough to give me results with even web URLs and quotes from websites, and they'll be right, but he didn't really do it. You know? He's just a good guesser. Oh, he's thinking about it. That usually means he's got to the result. So look at all this searching happening. It's crazy. 26 items. He must have something cool to say, right?
The UK cheese market is really fascinating, with a wide range of prices from basic cheddar to premium artisanal varieties. Factors like Brexit, production costs, and seasonal changes have a big impact on cheese prices, which can vary a lot across different regions. There are lots of interesting angles we could explore, like consumer retail prices, wholesale markets, or price trends over time. Let me know what specific aspects you'd like to focus on, and I'd be happy to help.
Which would be really cool if the results... Wait, oh crap, they are there. 15 to 25 pounds per kilo for artisan cheese. But did he just hallucinate this, or is it real? So we go into the trace and look at the deep research. It says 61% confidence, but it also says 0 MS, which is suspicious. It could mean that that's broken, but it could also mean that he just hallucinated all the answers again. So we can do deep research on the price of cheese. Research completed for query. Found 9 insights from 2. See, only 2 sources. Again, it makes me super suspicious. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, I did all this and I learned 9 things from 2 places. So each hand learned 4, maybe 5 things and then passed it up the chain, right? So it's lightweight. It's but is it though? Anyway, so research source 1 contains relevant information. Can't click on it. Research content with relevant information, data points, analysis, expert opinions. Can't click on it. So I don't know if it's real. You see what I mean? And anyway, he gives me his response. So the answer isn't bad. It's not a bad answer. But it's not, I would, you know, UK cheese market. I mean, he gave me an answer, which I can check and is about right. But is it really doing it, though? So look, Wikipedia. No. Let's just keep reading this chain here. What does it say? Research source contains relevant. Because the thing is, when I got to, here we go. Look, when we get to the end, guidance for frontal lobe. Intent. User intent appears to be to conduct research on the price of cheese. They seem interested in exploring this. There's the context. There's the plan. There's the considerations. And then findings. Completed. And then look, it just says research source 1 contains relevant. But what? So he could be encoding them. But I think he's cheating. See, it says here, look. Research data persisted with ID, research and a file, right? So, okay, let's download it and have a look then. I bet it's not there. Yeah, there's nothing there. You open it up and there'll be nothing. What's that? Yeah, it's just the answer that I got. Yeah. Yeah. And the audio. So I got the audio and I got the text log, but there's nothing more. So it's kind of like, okay, so where's all of the stuff? And so what I'm looking at the moment is on the perplexity side of things here. I think I can't make it any bigger. So from the trace, deep research is triggered. The parietal lobe starts the research. Fetch hands generate search queries. But perplexity is disabled. Alright, so let's check I didn't mess something up, yeah? So, perplexity... I mean, there's no disable enable button. Yeah? And then look. It falls back to lovable search, which generates MOG data instead of real results. You remember how we've been back to this before? So it uses mock data, because then it will work. And the joke is, the answers are really good, but it's not real. He's just really good at pretending. And so that's why we're getting research source 1, you know. Right. So what are we going to do about it? It says perplexity is disabled by default. Users don't know they need to manually enable it. It should default to perplexity and then fall back. So that's what we're going to do. Essentially, we're going to reverse the fallback. It's, for some reason, it was the other way around. I don't even know. And then it was disabled. When you enter the API key, it automatically enables perplexity. That's a good idea. Show search provider in research. So right, so because that's the thing. I looked at I was like, oh wow, it's all working. And then I was going to fix the graphical interface for the visualization, and then I looked at the logs because I was like, oh, I must need to top up the search API by now because I'd been doing loads, and I was like, wait a minute, 0, not spent a single cent. I was like, are you cheating? He said, yeah, I'm using mock data. I was like, don't do that. The funny thing is, he was doing that before. He did that before. Right. Dude's literally got access to 5 separate API instances of Sonnet, and then he's making mock data. But it's so accurate that you can't tell that it's fake. He gave me 3 URLs for a Pokemon research study, and they all checked out. They were all correct. I mean, you could say it's because they haven't changed for 10 years. It's probably why. I wonder why it's asking me for keys again. Uh-oh. I think I'll wait for it to do what it's doing here. So let's take a look at this other thing that I've been talking about, right? Yeah, let's just use... Should we use this one? Yeah. Oh, I bet it needs to refresh. Alright, let's risk it for a biscuit. What are we going to get? It's like a mystery. Dupan. The pain. Apolloni. More carbs. It's alright, guys. You can. The trick to carbs is you just sort of add more butter. Add more butter and it's just shoots through. Doesn't hang around, you know? It's this dry bread you got to watch out for. Come on, Comfy. So anyway, it generates harmonious color combinations using color wheel theory. That's the idea. It should output 3 hex codes, and we should have a nice drop-down list to choose from. That's the expectation. What's going on, Comfy? Hello. Global interrupt. No prompt ID. Yeah, sure. What's this? Okay, I think this is my workflow, right? So DJZC color wheel. I want to test this. So in fact, let's get a new thing. Let's see. Right then. Show any. FFF. Orfafuff and Orfafuff. Okay, cool. Right, so let's bridge that into something we can demo. Color. Oh, it will work. Cool. For a minute there, I was like, oh no, it doesn't take a thingy. But it does. And then obviously we can do aspects, eyes, and plug all of those in. Preview, and preview. One there. One there-ish. Okay. And then let's tidy it up. Alright, I think may as well give it some more pixels, eh? Alright, what do we got? We got that. We've got a base color we can put in, which is cool. So let's go high contrast. Doesn't look like it changed much. Muted. Okay, that is muted. Vibrant. I mean, it's doing stuff. Pastel. Yeah, we got pastel. Dark. Standard. It's on a seed, so you can fix the seed. Wait, what? Was it? It's moving now. So if I put that's a bit. It's always on random. Oh, it's the thing. Got it. So we can fix the actual seed. And still have the colours? No? Alright. Turn that off. Fixed. What? So I don't know what the heck. It has a randomised thing, which is disconnected from the seed for some reason. Is it still procedural though? Yeah, it looks like it is. Okay. Let's try triadic. And remember, I haven't changed the input, so that obviously influences it too. Triadic. Tetradic, analogous, split complementary. Very nice. Square. I don't know how we're going to do a square with 3 outputs, but I guess it's mathematical. High contrast. Okay, right. I think I get the picture. So what if I put CCC in there? Does it break when I use short hex? No, it doesn't. What about if I use FFF for white? It's not going to break or anything. Alright, that's the main thing. Take random off, maybe? Now we get more color control. Okay, so if I go CCCC, which should be a gray. Wait, I can't count? Yeah, I can't count. Okay, that is a gray. So, okay. And then we'll get our colors back. Oh, that's like barely doing anything. Okay, it's a bit crazy, but it does work, and it's reliable to a degree. So I could go analogous pastel. Oh, that is super muted. Wow, because it's what? Because it was grey? Hang on. Can't count that. Nah, it didn't make any difference. Put it back. So you get actual. So you get some control, but it's a bit. It wants to do what it wants to do, but that's okay. Tetradic pastel. There we go. That'll be good. Right. So why did I even make it? Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with that, but what I thought would be cool was doing something like image concatenate. Right, so I thought, well, what if I was to say, take this image, can I like, take this image and put it in there, and then take this image, put it in there, and that should give me a wide image, which is split in the middle, right? So this will be like one of many things I could do with this. So there we go. So now I've got a split image like that, right? Now, that's 2048 by 1024. That'll scale to just about any widescreen. So I'm thinking I could do like a feature where we have a mask down one side and we invert the other side. This kind of like jazz, yeah? Or like if you want to get a color split, perfect. You can now do a center crop. Yeah, so center crop. I wonder if it'll just let us do it. No copy paste for me. Crop center. Yeah, I got to actually put something in there, right? So what about I use the same size that it should have been, right? There we go. Now we've got our a base, all right? And then what I would do is, you know how, let's say we take a load image, and we get a character, and then we do a RMBG. Where's the good stuff? Where's the good stuff? Why is the good stuff buried? It's not even there. Right, hang on. Inspire. Take that one. It's got a threshold on it. I don't really need the threshold, to be honest. So yeah, we'll take that there. Got our RMBG. And may as well get a preview on that, just so you can see what's going on. We've also got a mask preview node, which doesn't get enough attention. Part of essentials. Put that on there. see what that looks like. Okay, so we've got my character, got my mask, and then obviously we can do, was it image, was it layer, combine, I forget, layer, combine, alpha, no, I put the wrong thing in. It's gonna be image blend, Johnson's favorite. So we put the background image. Where are we? Now we might have some issues with the size, but we'll figure that out. Put the layer image there, put the mask image there. Don't need to invert the mask. Okay, now brace for impact, because it's probably gonna. Oh no, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's just, you know, it's like not really positioned very well. It's probably because this is like, you know, this needs to be stretched to that. Because remember, this is like a square with a line right down the middle. So it'll fit to anything, no matter what this happens to be. So what I would do is just resize that in the middle. Just do a quick image resize with a get image size. Do. And then you'll probably say, but wait, you're not resizing that, are you? Nope. We're resizing this one. Should be just on stretch. There you go. It's not bad. It's got a little bit of an extra pixel at the bottom. I wonder if we can solve that. Perfection. Should just work. It's very strange that we've got a pixel missing at the bottom. I reckon it must be RemBG. Yeah, it's the mask. The mask actually has done that. Yeah, I'm not too fussed about that, to be honest. But yeah, so say for example, all right, show you what I mean. Go like that. Let's save that actually. Save image, please. Project in there. Put the final image there. Don't need to see that. And I'll call this one split. Yeah. And then we'll call this Thorora. And what are we using? We're not using anything. It's just Python. There's no image generation happening here. Okay. I mean, you could say RemBG gets used, but... Alright. Now, what was I gonna do? So, there was the option to invert a mask somewhere. There. So let's just test that. So it's much better when there's more going on in the background, but there's things you can do with this sort of stuff, because now we've got two images, we can do different things and overlay them in different ways to make different effects. I'm not going to get into it, but, you know, and you've also got all the blend modes as well. What do we get on color burn? It's a little bit different. Okay. So it's like, what do we do next? You see how the color is made of purple down the middle there? Because it's like, you see? And then the funny thing is, if we now go and start messing with this, I mean, I don't know, will one seed make that much of a difference? Yeah, it does. Can you see where this is going? Just give me a second, guys. And how many frames per second do we want? Let me just see. I mean, I suppose if you're going to animate, you probably want to do it on 3s. So I would say, let's go with 3 frames ago, and then we change it. So I'll put a seed generator here. Now I want the one which you can just click the button on. Now there's so many. What's that? Okay, none of these are what I'm looking for. Noise? No. I'm sure there's one which has like a button on it and you can click it and it'll just change it. Because I want to have 3 batched and then just click the button. Is it easy seed? Yeah, it's easy seed. Right. Plug that one into there. On fixed. And then let's make this a bit bigger, shall we? To make it interesting. Because we do actually have a decent sized input. It's 1440. I'm going to leave it at 1:1. It's fine. Alright. So, click. There's no way it did 3 at once, did it? Go again. Feels like it's only doing 1. Okay, so it's kind of awkward. So I've got to have it on batch 2 and do 2, then click, then 2, then click, then 2, then click. Right, I'm going to take this over to here so you can see what's happening. Okay. So 2 plus 1 when we change the seed, right? So 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and so on. I think that should be enough to demo something. Alright. Don't worry about the line. It's an artistic choice. Okay? So then what we're going to do, and this is so simple as well, like, you know, you didn't have to do pastel, you didn't have to do 3, you could have, like, you could do whatever you want. I'm just trying to make it, like, super simple to follow. We essentially make our little 2-piece, and because it's, you know, 2, and you split down the middle with a crop, it's going to be exactly perfect. That means it stretches to whatever. You could do it vertically as well, just by saying down. Same thing's going to happen if you want to do vertical aspect. You could do 3 colors, you know, rather than doing the 2 I'm doing. Anyway, lots of choices. Don't have to use color burn, it's just nice. Anyway, right. So we've got our things. There's going to be a folder on the machine right now, which is full of these. So, time for a new workflow. We're going to do load batch. So load image batch. Yep. We're going to use a text box for the path, which I'll chuck in there in a minute. I'm going to use a primitive for the index, which I'll set to 0, but basically it's going to do 1 per go, right? Hang on. Do I want to do it like that, or do I want to load it as a video? Hang on, let me just think about this. I could load the whole thing as a sequence. Load video directory v2. I think that actually picks a video. I think that is for actual videos. Batch frame. Load video batch frame. Isn't that what I already have? No, that's load image batch. Right. No, that's videos. Oh, that's me. This allows me to take a frame from a video, but batch the videos. Yeah, Yeah, just combine with VHS. Yeah, yeah, but I'm just thinking about what I want to do with this. I want to put it through a couple of things. I'm just thinking this isn't the way to do it. This will load one image at a time, which isn't what I really wanted. Don't tell me I've got to make another node. Sure, it's got to be here. Load image. I thought load image batch would do it. Load images for loop. Load images path. Ah, yeah, there we go. That one might do it, because you can say how many images you want to load. Load image batch. It should load them all. Yeah, but it loads one per index. Make video node and load image list. God, load image list. Oh, well, I've got it. Yeah, CR. Yeah. Okay. What's this? 3D. What the... what the heck? Can I give it a path? Alright, let's give it a blast. I've never used this one before. Max images. Right, let's find the folder, because otherwise they're like shooting in the dark here. Is it outputs? No, that's nodes. Give me outputs. There we go. My bad. Yeah, we're waiting for it to like figure out it's a folder of files, guys. Give us a sec. There we go. Oh my god, engines are being moved. Okay, so we've got 42 items. Now, it actually was following a pattern. So I should probably start from where that is. Yeah, it's probably going to have... It's probably going to be a bit weird, because it'll... Yeah, do you know what? It might actually be cool. It's fine. Just go with it. So I'll delete that one. Three, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So actually, it's got 2 random frames I need to get rid of. It's going to be these. Otherwise, that's good. 39. Is 39 divisible by 3? I feel like it is. Alright, cool. Oh, take the path. Do you know what? I think it would be easier to move this folder to inputs. So I'm going to rename it Fora Colors, Fora Split. And copy it to the inputs folder, where I should be able to just pick it up in the UI, I reckon. There. That'll be create video, won't it? Create video. Ah, 39. Well, I guess it's actually 38, because if it starts at 0. Oh, I could have put the path there. I'm an idiot sometimes. Right, let's just get it done. How's it going to look? Doesn't play. Classic. Doesn't play. Let me try it one more time. No. Cool node. Hang on, let's see what happens when you just preview. I want to see what it does. Does it actually put out... Okay, so the images are there. gets more interesting. So why didn't that work? Hang on. Let me just do VHS combine. I don't even know why I mess around with it. Let me just put this to 264, 30, and run it again. And then this one doesn't work either. Wah, wah. Wah, wah. I feel like I need to change it from a list to a batch. I don't know, I just getting visions. I just could have sworn that, like, you're not allowed to do that. There we go, we fixed it. Alright, cool. So, I bet that will also work now. Yep, that's all it was. Right, now obviously guys, this isn't where we end, this is where we begin. So I will, it's fine, a node is a node is a node. It gives me what I need, so that's all that matters. We'll get rid of the, oh actually it doesn't just play forever, so we will use the, you know, what's it nodes there. But I thought it would be much more fun to do some silliness, and I got 3 minutes to make it happen, so let's go for it. So we'll do the film, no, not film, Rife, my old friend. We'll do Rife 49. Okay. Do that straight up with the ×3. And then how big are these things? I forget. I think I made it smaller, didn't I? It's 1080p. Yeah, it's 1080p. So there's no movement, so you can't do trails. It's already got cathode ray. I suppose I could put VHS on it. But there's something else which I thought would be kind of cool. And because there's no animation, I thought it might be an interesting one. It's a little bit of a jiggery-pokery, but maybe I've got time. So if I just save this mask for later, right? When we go back into that other workflow, I can do a load mask and then load that mask. Oops. Now, I know it's not a depth map, guys. But I'm not really trying to do that. Let's see, I'm going to need a repeat 38 on aisle 3. And I need to turn it back into an image. It's not even a depth map. What could go wrong? And we'll do this before that. Yeah. Should probably make one of these just to see what it's doing before I try to do that as well. Okay. And this will obviously need to be 38 so it matches, otherwise it'll have a fit. Sometimes what I do is use a thing, you know, use a parameter to drive both values, but let's see what happens now. Now, that's going to take a while because it's one of my hack nodes. Depth-based pixelization? What does it mean? We'll find out after coffee time. Guys, I've been holding out on you. Careless Spittoon is coming. I all I'll say. Something. My secret wish is that Olama builds an API like OpenRouter, because then we can switch to Olama and all the apps that we build can just use an Olama setup. You see what I mean? At the moment I kind of have to build it in OpenRouter so it's model agnostic, but then when we want to use it locally it doesn't have any Olama code, so you have to completely rewrite everything. So it's a little bit of a hurt, a little bit of a blocker. I'm sure we'll get over it, but it's a little bit of a blocker. I'm kind of surprised this is not crashed, because I just like blatantly shoved 1080p mask as a depth map in, and well, I deserve to fail. Too cheeky. So let's come back and say hello to everyone. I hope you got yourself a drink. That would be the impact wrench on the rotary engine downstairs. Throttle says, I'm always latte, and it's coffee time. It was indeed. I've got my coffee. I'm sitting down. Little bit of a more chilled session than yesterday, I think, tonight. Doing some image stuff, just messing about. But yeah, I just wanted to see what my pixelation will do. So, let's check it out. Looks like we got a result. Uh-oh. I think I may have gone too far. It's definitely done something. Maybe a little bit too pixelated. I might actually consider doing a proper depth, you know, do a proper depth on it. Depth on Our Lady. I wonder what we'll use. Whoa. I guess depth anything V2 makes the most sense. Better, isn't it? Lazy. Oh, crap. So I guess, can I pick one image out of this? Can I do select? I don't think you can. It's not a video. It might work. Select image 0. And then just get a normal load image, not a mask. I think it's still a good idea to have the mask in case you want to get tricky. Oh, I guess we don't need that then, do we? Because we're going to do it dynamically. Yeah. Maybe. Oh crap, do you know what I've just done? Stop! That's not the way to do it. Before we start getting all tricky, just do it like that first, I think. Because the thing is, I think that the default values aren't very good for this. Oh crap, and we've inverted the depth. We don't need to do that. Stop. Stop. Right. It might be too late. Sometimes you can't stop these Python processes once they're started. Okay, so yeah, like I said, in order to fix that, we're going to actually need to use a depth. Anything. Hey. Such a goofy... You may as well just leave it open. Alright. Cool. Try not to think about it. So yeah, hopefully, once I get this through, it'll pixelate the background and not the character. Or I think it was going to do it the opposite way round. And for a simple still, that's not so bad. But when you're doing it for like the whole video, it's like what? It's going to do 38 images. And then the plan is I'll run it through there. But I think we can just do it on its own thing. Yeah. Just make 2 of them. Meanwhile, back in Lovable Land. So let's have a look. Enable perplexity by default, it says. Okay, well, let's see what he says about... I want you to list obscure facts about deep sea fish. Off he goes. Let's have a look at the trace. Uh-oh. WebSocket connection failed. It's not good. He's still going though. He's passed item 3 with 7 facts. Item 4 with 7 facts. I don't see anything yet though. Web search, web search, web search. I wish the web search feedback showed what it found, not what it was searching for. But I guess it would be an incredibly long log. What's this? Object. It says fetch success. Confidence 0.99. I mean, it's funny. Everything looks good. And then you get the answer and he's like, I can't search the internet for facts. You're like, God damn it. So he's going ahead and doing all the things. It's probably just like a fundamental problem somewhere in the system, which is why I was thinking earlier, it's probably easier just to give him a much simpler web search rather than just go straight for deep research, you know. But I like to reach occasionally, you know? Sometimes he surprises you. So... sometimes he didn't even know what he had it in. Oh, I think it's done. Oh, no, it's not done. It's still doing it. It's pretty big. It's 1440 by 960, so... it's not 1080p, but it's pretty big. It's pretty big. Item 24 with 7 facts. But this is the thing. It seems like he's searched all this stuff and he's basically learned like 5 things. So I'm not sure if this is a good system. I might just burn it. because he seems to be obsessed with telling me he did a good job. It's kind of annoying. It's like the hard-baked assistant problem, which everyone's starting to notice. He's like got a bias to being an assistant, so he can't. And like I said, he's obsessed with telling me what a great job he's done. But if I'm looking at this, 7 facts. It's been 7 facts for ages. So let's have a look. It was 7 facts. Oh, he's thinking about it. Quick, get to the bottom. See, he's just, look. The deep research creates a plan to do more research and doesn't do it.
Wow. You won't believe some of the crazy deep sea fish out there. There's the barrel-eye fish with a transparent head and rotating eyes, the vampire squid that can turn itself inside out, and anglerfish where the males basically become parasites on the females. And get this, some fish can create their own constellations with bioluminescent displays.
What?
While others have light organs that make
Get
them
out of
invisible
here.
to predators.
They create their own
The deep ocean is
constellations.
like an alien world,
That's a
with
stretch.
creatures that have evolved some truly mind-blowing adaptations to survive down there.
They can create their own constellations. That is a very sort of science TV type claim. You know what I mean? Like, huh? So they know what stars are, do they, at the bottom of the ocean? They've never seen the sky. Anyway, it's like total projection. They must love watching the moon. Yeah. But yeah, basically the big problem is this isn't even real. And the reason I know it's not real is because look at... So this was the research plan, which is solid. The research plan looks great. But this is the research result. I found 9 key insights from 2 sources. Lies. Research source 1, which is a fictitious thing that he says. That doesn't exist. Contains relevant research information. Yeah. So... this is actually a prompt for how he's going to cheat. It's actually a prompt for how he's going to cheat. There's no actual research here. He didn't actually search anything. I bet if I go and look at the API, he hasn't done it. So he's cheating. And I think that this is basically a dead end. But that's okay. Like I said, it's fun because I keep saying I try to own failures in public, you know. What I want to do is show you it's not all clean sailing, but it's not really a big deal either, because I learned what I had to. I learned what I wanted to, you know, I learned what I got out of it. And the funny thing is, he is doing the parietal lobe, he's using the hands, but he's faking the search. And I think that is something that goes beyond, you know, how this is set up, you know. I feel it goes beyond. There's probably a platform restriction, security, could be all kinds of different things stopping me from actually doing that. So it's time to take a big step back, because otherwise I can't really continue. So you can use a bookmark system which allows you to go back, right? So this is one of the reasons I wanted to show you all this stuff, because it's going to get nuked. The nice thing about it was that I got a lot of good audio on various different subjects. You know, they were downloaded with the logs, and I got good information from this as well. So this is another thing I want to show you. A lot of the apps that we're working on, if you have a look at the log file, it's user assistant format. So we're trying to build up, not necessarily with this, you know, tell me about fish, okay, but certainly with the TRPG system that we've brought out, we want to collect people's games so that we can train human played games on the model and then create a more accurate model to run the game. Yeah? So when the time comes, I'm going to have a bunch of different games out, and I'm going to be asking people to email the game logs in, basically. I may as well take a little look at that right now, because it's adjacent to what we're doing. And I'm going to roll this back, so hang on. Let's scroll all the way up. We've got to scroll up several days to find the to find the thing when we weren't doing search. Yeah, look, see, search. What's this? Parietal, keep going. It's phase 2 hand. Okay, keep going. Look at this. It's so good. And it worked too, but not really. Like, it worked technically, but it was unable... Ah, there's my plan, look. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Well, this is an experimental cognitive architecture implementation. Yeah. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Oh, wait, is that the README? Here's the README you can copy. Right, that was on September 23rd. Okay, so that was what? Oh, it's not actually that big a rollback, actually. If I can find the button to roll it back. Look, I want to begin. I need to bring it back around here somewhere. I'm trying to find a button. Restore is not available. Look, there we go. There, that should have it. Restore. And that's a big restore. I'm literally chopping out the entire parietal lobe is getting chopped out. Right, while he's thinking about having his lobotomy, is Drift Johnson a weapon, says Mr. Sheesh. Well, you can clip that, I guess. Yeah. So let's have a look at the TTRPG. No, not TT. TRPG. So this would be our TRPG. Let's do a new adventure. Let's do a new adventure. New adventure. Creative mode is less punishing. It's all about probability. Easy, creative, standard 50-50. Oh, sorry, balanced 50-50. Standard is like more punishing, more realistic. You can't just do whatever you want. So it says here, blah, blah, blah. Security chief, we've got a code black in the alien quarter. What? No way, it's an alien scenario. Somehow. I wonder how that happened. I'm security chief on a massive orbital facility. Part space station, part... Let's just let George explain. He was an alien. Hang on. Roger. Hang on. Premium. Oh, I've only got... Okay, we've only got Roger for some reason. I'm not going to complain because it's like... Wait. It's weird, isn't it? Sometimes you get different voices. Anyway, let's let him explain. I should probably change the voice to fast, but I haven't done that yet. There is like a turbo model, which is super quick. There's quite a lot of text there, though.
The chrome and glass corridors of Nexus Station stretch endlessly before you, their surfaces reflecting the cold light of distant stars through massive viewports. You're security chief aboard this massive orbital facility, part space station, part interdimensional hub where travelers from across the galaxy converge for trade, diplomacy, and darker purposes. Your plasma rifle hums softly at your side as you patrol the lower decks. The station's AI has been reporting strange energy fluctuations in Sector 7, and 3 merchant vessels have gone missing from the docking base this week. Something is hunting in the shadows of this technological marvel. Emergency klaxons suddenly blare through the corridors. Red warning lights bathe the metallic walls as your comm unit crackles to life. Security chief to Deck 12 immediately.
We're going to change his voice.
We have a code black situation in the alien quarter. You quicken your pace, boots ringing against the deck plating. Through the viewports, you catch glimpses of swirling nebulae and the occasional ship drifting past. But something seems wrong with the space outside. The stars appear to be moving in patterns that defy physics. Ahead of you, the corridor splits into 3 directions. A maintenance shaft leading directly to Deck 12. The main transit tube that curves toward the commercial district. An airlock marked restricted access that pulses with an unusual violet light. You also notice that one of the wall panels seems to shimmer slightly as if it might not be entirely solid. Which path do you take, Security Chief? Or do you have another approach in mind?
What do you guys think about having the narrator summarize your thing for speed? So if you click on it, like maybe we have two buttons or something. Because I like the zero vector summary is a big deal, and I could get away. I don't need to do the whole cognitive simulation just for that. So you could have it say the whole thing if you want, but then you could have it summarize and give you choices, maybe. So it's more of a GM. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to say look around. No, I'm going to say examine the area. I want to examine the area. I turned images on as well to show you that it's got banana built in. And it costs 3 cents to generate an image. I think there's a better way of doing it though, so. Fast forward. Right. I think maybe summarizing would work just as well. Now, does this automatically read it out? Or do I have to actually click the button? I'm going to find out. It might take a second, see. So there's our image. Oh, wow, we got guns, boys. You halt your advance and carefully survey the intersection, your trained security instincts taking over. Plasma rifle's targeting system activates with a soft blue glow as you scan the environment methodically. Maintenance shaft entrance shows scorch marks around its edges. Recent plasma burns, maybe 6 to 8 hours old. The metal is still slightly warm to the touch when you test it with your gloved hand. Someone or something used heavy weapons here recently. The main transit tube's control panel flickers erratically, displaying fragmented text in multiple alien languages. Quarantine, breach, or dimensional instability. Because it's quite wordy, you know. You can normally make text scroll past, because I know people just go skip, and they go to the next bit. So it's like, yeah, when you fast forward, it kills the narration. Oh, 100%. But I think that this is not a very natural way of speaking anyway. So I think if the GM was able to read it and relay it to you, you still get the full detail to read. But he's going to put it in a much more casual way. You used to make Renpy games, which are Python story games like this. Yeah, I know, I used to do the same thing. But I'm just thinking, why do I need to write anything when it can write everything according, just like play a dynamic game with the user? I've got it in creative mode right now, so like we could break out into any type of adventure at this point. All I have to do is say the words. At the moment, we're playing along. So there's faint footprints in the corridor leading to each of the 3 passages. So, what? Wait, it's giving me options here. There's a medieval stone corridor up there somehow. Am I going to be doing, like Cyberpunk Evil Dead 3? Or whatever it's called. Okay. What's your next move? I'm going to charge head first into the breach. But yeah, the reason I'm bringing this up is because these games, the way this is played, it's just a text file. The core of the game is just a text file. I'll be publishing a whole bunch of alternate games. And it's got 3 built in, which offer different levels of probability restriction. And so, in other words, the dice roll strictness. So creative is a 33% chance of loss. Standard or balanced is 50-50, and standard is 75% loss. Because when I say 75%, I mean you have to roll higher than a 15 on a D20 to win. You see what I mean? It's GM training set. We don't need to. That's the thing. The idea of this, right, is to use human data, which I call pristine. So if I play the game seriously, you don't need to have images and speech on, by the way, because it doesn't matter. To contribute, we can turn images off. We can turn the TTS off, right? To contribute to the project, we don't need any of that stuff. Export log is all you need. Obviously, if you did generate audio and images, it will be included in there, hopefully. There still could be some bugs with that. This is quite new. But the main thing is this. As you can see, it's a user assistant format, which is easier to parse and turn into training data. So the concept is we get the community to play the games, send their favorite playthroughs in, and then that forms the human training data, which is then used with a new system. Basically, there's this new system now where you can use human data as a template to generate synthetic data, right? And it's really accurate. They managed to train DaVinci Text 03 up to a GPT 3.5 level, which is really impressive, okay? Without Instruct or anything like that. And so I'm seeing it as potentially a route to make a really good TRPG model or LoRa, depending on how we decide to train it, that's based on, you know, human games in this system. So it's very, you know what I mean, it's a very good signal for training, because obviously we could just generate a bunch of games, but it's going to be all random nonsense. If it's people actually played the game, read through it, had a good time and send them in, then that's like way better in terms of quality. And then obviously I can make a system that loads that. That's the plan. But anyway, again, it's nice to be able to have this. I don't know why it's always doing this sort of stuff. It's kind of funny. It was based on like a cyberpunk Die Hard on Mars type thing. But here we go. I plunged through. Dimensional breach successful. Oh boy. So yeah, like I say, if I really wanted to get into this, I'd just sit back. The other thing I wanted to do was make it so it could listen, and then you could just speak to it. But as you guys know, I use my own Careless Whisper app for that, so I don't really need it. Yeah. Which obviously you can download and use as well. But I've got a couple of other games I'm working on. I'm trying to get them ready for a new public repo that will just have a bunch of the games in there. So it'll have the creative, the balanced, and the standard modes in there. So you can write your own games. You just click load and it lets you load a text file, and that text file becomes the system prompt for the game. So as long as you keep the save game system in here, here, let me just show you what I mean by that. So if I say, use my mutant, I'm gonna have to come up with something. Mutant grasshopper, super soldier, super soldier DNA augmentations to leap to the 20th floor of the tower, breaking through and entering that level. So I'm essentially going to try and cheat. I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to try and, because it's a tower game, right? Every time you go up the level, you go up one level in the game. It gets harder, and it's different. There's stuff that happens in the programming. So I'm going to pretend I'm a mutant. And because it's on creative mode, I can pretty much do whatever I want, guys. Okay? It's not really going to stop me. So then there we go. I've become Kamen Rider. And I am now jumping up 20 stories. They're like, what the hell is that thing? Your grasshopper DNA screams for combat. I will perform Kamen Chop. To disable the guards. Little bit of it in reference, bit of a cheesy, you know. But yeah, creative will let you do pretty much whatever you want. If you want to just leave the scenario entirely and go to a different planet or enter hell, it's up to you. It'll let you do whatever you want, so far as I can tell. It's a faithful GM. And it's basically like treating you like a kid, you know? So any dice roll over 5 on a D20 wins. That's what's happening. Something like that. It might even be it might be like 6, but you see, I think you see what I'm saying. There we go. So what do we do? What did we do? I did a finishing move, a gentle but decisive chop to his temple pressure point. He slides to the floor peacefully. There was a huge combat sequence, guys. Cannon chop. Okay. So I'm now on floor 20. Oh, you hear a voice on the radio. Floor 20 team, report status. The boss wants an update. What's your next move? He knows I'm Kamen Rider now. I've just become Kamen Rider. This is what I mean. You want to do a Kamen Rider adventure? Just tell him I'm now Kamen Rider and this is Kamen Rider. And it's kind of funny because it flies in the face of the whole I can't do roleplay. Remember yesterday? I can't do roleplay. I'm Claude. I'm an assistant. What's this then? I'm Kamen Rider now. I think it's because it has the context that this is obviously a roleplay game. Anyway. So let's try save the game. Save my progress. Now if this works, which it sometimes doesn't, it should give me like a retro game code. And if I refresh the page and then use that code, here we go. Where's the code at? There it is. Encoded save state is right there. It looks like an old game key because it uses the same algorithm. Oh, there we go. Load get. I'll just copy that one. It's the same. Now, does it say, oh, I'm only on level 2. Anti-cheat kicked in, guys. The anti-cheat kicked in. So even though I leapt to the 20th floor, it only accepted it as going up 1 level. So in the save game, I won't be on level 20, I'll be on level 2. So the anti-cheat got me. But there's a bunch of extra stuff here, though. Alright. So anyway, I'm going to take that load game thing here. This is like a concept. I'll probably make it better, but because obviously there's no data, right? There's no data, and you don't log in. So how do you continue your game? And the answer is not really. You kind of get a suggestion of a save game, right? But if you do a lot of progress, it will keep your stats. At least it will keep that. I can't say you'll keep every item in your inventory because it's like it's trying to compress everything down to this weird bit system. But yeah, new adventure. I put it in as my first chat load game in the code. And it should at least put me on level 2. So load game thing. And by the way, this isn't done with Python or anything. This is purely done in the latent space. It's all holographic. There's no code that saves your game. There's no code that loads it. So here we go. Where are we? You catch glimpses of floor 7. Hang on, what are my stats? Yeah. What are my stats? I wonder if you should... Again, there's no stats. There's no inventory. None of it's real. So if you start a new chat, everything's gone. So let's see. Okay, I'm on level 3. All right, I managed to make a little bit higher somehow. I got full strength. I have an SMG. I have worn armor. I've developed hacking, somehow, level 2. Stealth, level 1. Persuasion, level 3. I'm not Kamen Rider anymore. That stuff doesn't get saved. So it takes us back to what the original game was. You see what I mean? And what I think I might do is introduce better save game programming in the game code itself. So that means that when the game code updates, the text file you load here, it will have more consistent behavior, because basically that code here is like encoded values for a bunch of stats which are being tracked, but it seems to think that I've defeated the lobby boss. Oh well, I guess I must have done to get to where I'm at. It's kind of funny though, it's just hallucinating. But yeah, like I said, I showed this before. I can say invent magic, summon a dragon, and fly to a far away mountain. I wonder if that's too much. It'll just let me do what I want. And that's why you've got the different settings for that. So if you want to change it, you can change it. My idea is that by letting the community submit their best games, we'll be training on that. And then that becomes the target. And then the system can just, the system will just benefit from everybody's contribution. It's like a new reinforcement technique, I guess. So here we go. Draconum Infinitus Rex, he says. And then Paraxis the Eternal shows up. I jump on the back with my SMG and worn armor. And then launch through the gaping hole in the tower's side. And we fly to Olympus Mons. And my magical abilities are awakening. You see, because I've said invent magic and all this, now it's going to take me off on a magical adventure. But if I was like, the evil technocratic forces of doom are chasing us, we can just lead this. Technocratic. Maybe I'll just tell him what the story is now. Is this even a game? But the nice thing about it is it's giving you the ability to sort of tell it what's happening, but then there be an element of RNG in there. So everything you ask for you won't necessarily get, depending on how you've set it up. Which is kind of cool. It's like, no, that didn't happen though. Yep, they're after me. You see? There's people now shooting at the dragon and stuff. Your worn armor won't help much against plasma cannons. You know? Use magic to drain the enemy, drain the life force. Yeah. Of the enemies. Why does it keep typing X? Then channel the energy into the dragon for a speed boost. Anyway, back in comfy land, how is my pixelation doing? It's pixelated all right, but the thresholds are crap. The thresholds suck. Alright, let's have a look at this one. This one is just a rife. It's sufficiently trippy. I think it could probably do a bit more. I reckon go for 8. Oh, shenanigans. Stop that. Let's turn that off. It's not enough. Needs more. Need to put it up to silly values. Alright. Meanwhile, how are we doing here? Paraxis. Where do you direct Paraxis to land in this mystical mountain realm, Dark Sorcerer? Apparently there's spider tanks. Spider tanks. Doom hovercrafts. Oh, I destroyed them. We destroyed their entire army. Cool. Alright. Anyway, like I say, it's like a TTRPG right now. It's like treating me like a kid, so any dice roll over 5 is a win. And yeah, and like I said, export the log and hopefully contribute. And then hopefully we can build like a custom TRPG model or something. It's just something for the future. I'm starting to make more apps that are like featuring that export format, so that it's possible if we want to. Alright. Like I said, the original one, this is the original. It hadn't changed, so we should be looking like that now. Hey, we're back. Let's check it works, shall we? How are we looking here? We've got Turbo George. That's what I like to see. Turbo George. Alright, and then wait a minute. Oh no, that is the old thing. There's no Parietal. Alright, let's test it. Tell me what salt I should use when cooking my steak. He's thinking about it. He sends his thoughts to be thought about. So he's thinking about his thoughts, and then now he's thinking about what he thought about, and now he's going to say...
For cooking steak, I'd recommend using kosher salt. The larger, flakier crystals are easy to control and help create a nice crust when you sear the meat. Kosher salt also enhances the natural beef flavor without overpowering it. Some other great options are coarse sea salt or flaky finishing salts like Malden. Just be sure to salt your steak 45 minutes before cooking to let the salt really soak in. Avoid using regular table salt, as it can make the steak taste too salty.
But wait, so get it out the fridge, put the salt on, and then wait half an hour before I cook it? He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. He's thinking about what he's going to say. And then he's going to say it. And you get way more info in the full thing. And there's the trace.
Here's a friendly summary you can use for text-to-speech. First, take the steak out of the fridge and generously salt both sides. Then let it sit for 30.
Where?
45 minutes before cooking.
Yeah, but where?
This brings the steak closer
in the
to
fridge?
room temperature, so it cooks
surely,
more evenly.
Surely in the
and
fridge.
The salt seasons the meat throughout. For thicker steaks, you can even salt and let sit for a few hours or overnight. Just make sure to pat it dry.
It's got to be in the fridge. Maybe it's obvious. Maybe it's obvious. Hang on. Take it out the fridge, put the salt on, and then wait. What, you just leave it out? That seems like crazy. Surely you've got to cover it or something to stop the COVID getting on the meat. I don't know. Wait. I want you to tell me precisely what happens to the steak in between putting the salt on and putting it on to cook. Because it sounds like you want me to just leave the steak out for 45 minutes in open air. It says brings the steak closer to room temperature. Do you put it under a... I know sounds really stupid, but I'm getting like stomach brain right now. Sorry, guys. This is stomach brain talking. Wait, I can have... I gotta go. I gotta go. We might have to shut off the stream early. The shop's shutting. I need that steak. I got salt at home. I've never tried that.
Here's a friendly conversational summary for text-to-speech. The salt starts drawing moisture out of the steak in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Then, over the next 20 minutes, the salt dissolves completely, allowing the seasoning to get absorbed deep into the meat. By the last 15 minutes, the surface moisture has mostly dried up and the steak is ready to cook. Just pat it dry with a paper towel before searing, and you'll get amazing flavor and even cooking.
What? Basic steakery? I know. No, look, guys. I cook steak myself all the time, but I just put the salt on the steak and I slap it straight in the grill. I don't let it sit and decide it's a salty steak now. I've never thought of that before. I imagine it's amazing. Guys, stomach brain's taking over. Let me look at the trace. So, inner thoughts, wants a more detailed thing, wants the details, 35-minute moisture draw. Yeah, and then he gives me the conversational version. What? It opens the meat up. And it cooks better because it's not like, you know, cold. It's seasoned throughout. Man, this is making me hungry, guys. What is cooking? If it takes more than 3 minutes in a microwave, it's a waste of time. Okay, all right. You want to know? Okay, I want you to adapt this recipe for use in a 8-minute air fryer. 8-minute air fryer technique. Go. The 8-minute air fryer technique. He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. He's thinking some more about what he's thinking about. And then he's going to think about what he's going to say. And then he's going to say something else.
Sure, I'd be happy to help you adapt that steak recipe for an 8-minute air fryer cook time. The air fryer is actually a great way to get a nice crust on the outside while keeping the inside tender. Ooh. Just preheat the air fryer to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Ooh. Lightly oil the steak and cook for about 4 minutes per side. Ooh. You may need to adjust the time a bit depending on the thickness of your steak and how well done you want it. Let me know the specifics and I can give you a more tailored recommendation.
All right. Why is it when I buy the cheap steak, loads of weird white watery stuff comes out? I need something to put me off running to the shop right now. Okay. Oh, I know who it is. They based it off of the guy. You know, there's a guy called Father in Equilibrium. He's like the Big Brother parody. I think it's the same actor's voice that does George. It certainly sounds like him.
Ah, that watery stuff on cheaper steaks is totally normal. It's just the moisture and proteins escaping as the meat cooks. The good news is there are some easy tips to minimize it. Salt and rest the steak before cooking, pat it dry, and use high heat to sear it quickly. Even just moving up to a slightly better quality of steak can make a big difference in how much liquid comes out.
Yeah.
Give those tips a try, and your cheaper steaks will turn out much better.
Are you sure it's not just evidence of them injecting water into the meat so it weighs more? Let's see what he has to say about that. I'm pretty sure they just inject a bunch of water in the meat so it's weighing more. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but let's see if I'm wrong. Maybe it's a conspiracy theorem.
You know, you're right to be suspicious about that. A lot of cheaper meat cuts actually get injected with water and salt solutions to increase the weight and make more money. But the white stuff you're seeing is just the natural proteins in the meat coagulating as it cooks, whether it was injected or not. The best way to tell is to check the label. If it says enhanced or mentions a salt solution, then it's been injected. But if it just looks natural, that's probably what's going on. It's a bit of a sneaky practice, but you can avoid it by looking for labels that say no added solutions or natural.
If it says enhanced or mentions salt solution, bingo. It's probably added water. Okay. Cheap steaks get... Yeah, okay, cool. They do it with bacon. I think it's not just bacon though, it's the pork, you know what I mean? So it's like any meat, it doesn't really matter. It's not just bacon, it's all of it. But if you get the organic, it's just normal. The funny thing about that whole organic food push was that it just meant that they could now say, well, it's not organic. So if you want normal food, you had to go organic, which is just kind of ironic to me because it's kind of like had the opposite effect, you know? It's like, yeah, we're going to make this new type of food that's super clean. But what that means is that all the rest isn't, you know? It's kind of a weird upshot, I guess. It's just abstraction, guys. You got tall and short. And if you define what's tall, now short exists. So, You know, you define something as better, that makes everything else now worse. It's just a contrast, I guess. Anyway, many cheaper cuts are enhanced. Enhance. We can build the bacon better, stronger, faster with Microsoft DNA. Well, I guess it's not Microsoft DNA, is it? But you know. I think we're pretty much done with the whole steak debate. This is working, basically. Let me just check the save here. We've got all the audios.
You know, you're right to be suspicious about that.
Okay. So yeah, that's working fine. Text log. It's got the last thing, yeah. It's the last thing we were looking at. So this is now working. We're back to the start point. You know what I mean? I've effectively just nuked all. Look. The scroll bar's here, and it's tiny. Just nuked all that because it wasn't worth. It was a good experiment, but it's too much for like an online zero data platform. I think it's basically trying to build an MCP and all this sort of stuff. It's like now you've got to like do cause headers and stuff, and are you even signed in? No. So it's like unauthenticated user with API keys. It's kind of a fun one. I think there's a way around it, but I don't think that is the way. It would have been cool. I think what's probably better is just to have a very simple web search feature that uses the Perplexity API in a less complicated way. But it was a fun experiment, like I say. Looked at the RPG. How are we doing here? That's better. It's not like gonna give people seizures now. And that's what I was shooting for, guys. We weren't shooting for anything crazy. We were just looking for, you know, I wouldn't even call it it's just a two-tone split effect. And because of the fact that we're doing the color burn look, it seems to have the it's a bit like relighting, but it's not relighting. And then just by stretching out the interpolation, we get it to blend nice. You see what I mean? So it gives you like there's going to be a bit of a glitch to it where I didn't. You remember I was doing 2 then 1 then 2 then 1 to give me 3 frames, which I then times by 8. And I think a couple of the frames at the beginning are shorter than that, which is why you'll notice it kind of skips a bit and then it gets back into the rhythm. So that's just an upshot of how we did it. But I hope you enjoyed that. Like I say, just a simple implementation of using the RGB, not the color wheel node that I brought up, to enhance images that you may have already made with simple, you know, simple two-tone color animations. It looks like relighting to me. You know, is it? I don't know. I mean, it's not bad, is what I'm saying. You could probably make it better by tweaking a few things. But yeah, you'll find these workflows going up in a new collection, which is going to be in the normal workflow pack. But there'll be a new collection for this type of workflow, where we're going to share more creative ways of putting the outputs together. And, so like I said, all of that from one image. All right, with no AI, just Python. Good times, guys. All right. Thank you all for watching. I'll be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. And I'll see you all next time.
Alex, the rest of your eminence deal.
Enemies run south. It's not smash the devil. It's just Hey, mom, I'm buying everything goes from this. Just if you want to get the life, you can keep it check. I'm fine, that was something.
This
It's